Hello and welcome. This video is about the Nilfgaardian Empire in the Witcher universe. Enjoy. The Nilfgaardian Empire, known as CS Riot in the Nilfgaardian language, stands as the most powerful empire in the history of the known world. Situated in the southern part of the continent, Nilfgaard boasts a flourishing economy and a formidable, well-trained army led by skilled commanders. Its expansion has been largely driven by the conquest of foreign territories, which are subsequently transformed into provinces of the empire. The true Nilfgaardians are considered to be those born within the empire's heartland, while those from conquered provinces are viewed as lesser. These provinces are governed either by stewards or kings who, if they surrender willingly, retain their thrones but become subjects of the emperor or vassals. Over time, the empire has steadily expanded, pushing its borders as far north as the Yaruga River during the reign of Emperor Emhyr var Emreis. In the northern kingdoms, the empire is often depicted as the ultimate antagonist, and the free people of the north harbor a deep-seated hatred toward it. Birth of the empire, Nilfgaardian history, according to its inhabitants, dates back to the 2nd century. The early settlers intermingled with the Black Scythe, resulting in a culture rich in elven language, beliefs, customs, and traditions. Meanwhile, valiant shepherds who lived in scattered settlements along the Alba River gradually absorbed neighboring nations, adopting their best traits in exchange for offering them security and order. This integration eventually led to the emergence of a unique culture, blending the achievements of elves, Vukovarians, Aetolians, and various Alban tribes. It was from this foundation that the Kingdom of Nilfgaard eventually arose. The kingdom's monarchs were supported by a council of advisors known as the Senate, which over time evolved into a powerful legislative body. During this period, Nilfgaardian influence began to spread, with neighboring lands slowly becoming Nilfgaardized. As territories fell under the empire's dominion, their people were expected to learn the Nilfgaardian language and adopt elements of its culture. As Nilfgaard grew, it incorporated several realms outside the Lower Alba, either through diplomacy or force. The title of Imperator initially appeared as a military rank, but later came to symbolize supreme authority. During this era, lands such as Rowan, Yimlak, Ruach, Derlin, Magni, and Winneburg were absorbed into the empire. In the early 12th century, Imperator Taurus var Emreis seized absolute power by overthrowing the Senate. Initially referring to his domain as a kingdom, he eventually adopted the term empire, along with the title of emperor. Taurus also established the Great Sun, Ardfin, as the state religion and symbol of the empire through the March 8th Edict. Following Taurus's death, likely in the early 1200s, Fergus var Emreis ascended to the throne, though many considered him a weak ruler. In 1216, Fergus launched a campaign against Aetolia to demonstrate the fate awaiting all who opposed the empire. The Nilfgaardian army overwhelmed Aetolia, dismantling its power structures and decimating its culture. Fergus also subdued Gemera and welcomed Vicovaro into the empire when its nobles petitioned to join willingly. However, in 1233, Fergus was overthrown and killed by the usurper, while his son and heir, Emhyr, was cursed by the mage Braithens and transformed into a humanoid hedgehog. Despite being hunted, Emhyr managed to escape the empire with the help of his allies. During the usurper's reign, he declared a national amnesty, diminished the rights of the Great Sun cult, and in 1239 annexed Ebbing. By the mid-1250s, the empire had also conquered Metinna, Nazaire, and Maikt. In 1257, Emhyr's supporters, led by Ardal ep Dehi and Vilgefortz, launched a rebellion that resulted in the usurper's death. Emhyr var Emreis, the rightful heir to the throne, returned to Nilfgaard and became emperor, earning the title the White Flame dancing on the barrows of his enemies, Daethwin Adan ing ep Morvid in Nilfgaardian. Emhyr continued the expansionist policies of the usurper, initiating the First Northern War in 1263 by invading Sintra. After winning the Battle of Marnadal, he marched on Sintra's capital, where most of the inhabitants were slaughtered during the siege. Emhyr also tasked Cahir Mar Difrin Ape Selach, a knight in his secret service, with capturing Cyrilla, the granddaughter of Queen Calanthe of Sintra and Emhyr's secret daughter, whom he intended to marry. However, Cahir failed, leading to his imprisonment for 2 years. Despite Emir's continued efforts to invade the north, the devastating Battle of Sodden Hill, where the North's mages played a crucial role, halted Nilfgaard's advance and ended the First Northern War in defeat for the Empire. Nevertheless, Nilfgaard retained control of Sintra and in 1267 crushed a rebellion there, executing its leader, Windhelm of Atre, as a show of power. Second Northern War. Undeterred, Emir planned the Second Northern War in 1267, this time enlisting powerful mages to stage a coup at Thanet Island to weaken the North by eliminating its mages. Although the plan failed, it led to the downfall of the Brotherhood of Sorcerers. With King Demavend of Adern faking an invasion at his borders, Emhyr used this pretext to mobilize his army and invade the North again. The North, already destabilized by the assassination of King Vizimir II and the chaos following the Thanet coup, was in disarray, giving Nilfgaard a significant advantage. Despite his military campaigns, Emhyr's priority remained finding Ciri. When a girl of her age was presented to him after the Thanet coup, he recognized she was not his daughter, but declared her the Queen of Sintra to pacify the masses while continuing the search for the real Ciri. However, one of his subordinates, Stefan Skellen, conspired with others to overthrow Emhyr and establish a democracy in Nilfgaard. Their plan to find and kill Ciri to prevent the continuation of the monarchy was foiled when Berengar Luvarden revealed the conspiracy to Emhyr in exchange for leniency. Emhyr captured Skellen and had him executed after a trial. Meanwhile, the Nilfgaardian forces suffered a significant defeat at the Battle of Brenna, where Field Marshal Menno Cohorn was killed. Following this loss, the Empire was forced to negotiate the Peace of Sintra, where Nilfgaard surrendered to the north but retained control of Sintra. Although officially defeated, the Empire's economic power surged as the war-ravaged northern kingdoms became dependent on Nilfgaard for food and resources. Upon finally finding Ciri, Emhyr intended to marry her, but realized her only desire was to be with her adoptive parents. He let her go and, having grown fond of the false Ciri, married her in the spring of 1268, officially making Sintra part of the Empire. Third Northern War. The Third Northern War began around 1271 after the failed summit in Loch Muin. The Nilfgaardian army, under the command of Field Marshal Havart var Miohoen, invaded the north once again, conquering Adern, Lyria, Rivia, and Temeria, which had been left leaderless after the assassination of King Demavend III and King Foltest on Emir's orders. However, when Nilfgaard approached Cadwyn, King Radovid V of Redania seized control of Cadwyn, uniting the north under his rule and presenting Nilfgaard with a formidable enemy. Alternate endings. If Emhyr wins the war, after the assassination of Radovid and the death of Sigismund Dijkstra, the leaderless north falls to Emhyr, who conquers the entire region. If Radovid wins the war, Radovid's strategic moves lead to Emir's defeat by Redanian troops. Upon his return to Nilfgaard, Emhyr is assassinated by his opposition, who have grown weary of his repeated failures. If Dijkstra wins the war, with Sigismund Dijkstra as head of state following Radovid's death, the North manages to defeat Emir's forces. Emhyr is subsequently assassinated by his opposition upon his return to Nilfgaard.